All right, Joe, welcome back. Again, we've given up on counting, so here we are yet again, one more week. How was your Thanksgiving?
I worked 16 hours, so I mean, it was nice, but I'm pretty sure my wife is actually slowly killing me with diabetes, though. Because she made me and Jeremiah Thanksgiving dinner, which is awesome, right? I mean, this is one of the reasons I love her, because she loves everybody.
Yeah, sounds great.
So I was like, yeah, you should definitely bring us some pie. She was like, all right, cool. Well, her and my father show up to the hospital 2 hours later with, I'm talking bicycle tire sized pies, bro. Like legit. And I was like, babe, I wanted a piece. She's like, oh, it's cool. You share it with the ED. No, I'm not sharing it with the ED. It's in the security fridge. All right. Yeah. I'm not doing that. I'm not sharing that with ED. But these things were huge. And then the other night I was like, hey, you should bring me some pizza. So what do? They buy me a whole pizza. I wanted a slice of pizza, Anthony. That's all I wanted. And she's like, hey, here's a whole pizza. Hopefully it's diabetes. Hopefully you get fat and never leave me. I don't know what that is, but I mean, it's working because I'm a chubby little bastard now.
That makes sense.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you're supposed to get a slice of pizza around here anyway. You just get a whole pizza.
You don't offend her.
Somebody needs to, Joe. Yeah, my week has been about as shit, but nobody delivered me any food, so there's that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I also worked on Thanksgiving. But that's fine. I don't really mind working holidays because you get paid a little extra. Also, with the way this year's been, I don't really want to expose my family. I don't assume I'm sick or anything, but I also work at a hospital, so we can't.
It's in the air.
Yeah, we can't assume that I'm healthy at any point. And even going back before 2020, we couldn't assume I was healthy at any point. So it's not really been going too hot.
We work at a hospital. You were not mentally healthy to do our job. Yeah, no, you can't be sane. You just can't.
Yeah, it's basically a psychological mental health case in process for each of us.
It'll leave you with some mental health scars.
Yeah,
but at least the pay's okay at best. Wow, I got really depressed about my job there. Thanks, Anthony. I appreciate that.
Anytime, dude. Anytime. Yeah, my brother actually had COVID. He's just he's getting better now. He's probably totally better now. As of Friday, he was off quarantine, so that's cool. But as you can imagine, with Thanksgiving being the day before that, he wasn't able to do anything. Otherwise, I would have had dinner at their place because his wife makes good dinner. But it is what it is. Hi, Timmy and Barbara. I love both of you.
Hi, Timmy and Barbara. I don't know you, but you're Anthony's people. Please listen to our podcast. We don't have a lot of friends.
More views would be great.
Because God knows we're not going to get them.
Besides that, just the usual, playing video games to stave off the inevitability of realizing what life is really like. It's, living my childhood well into my late 20s.
I'm not judging you. Okay, I'm judging the shit out of you. That's the whole premise of this podcast. Is
what you're here for.
To judge you.
I played some Team Fortress 2 this week.
Oh man,
those
characters are epic.
Yeah, I showed Joe all of the Meet the Team videos. If you ever look up Team Fortress 2, definitely watch the Meet the Team videos. There's nothing you need to know about video games to enjoy them. They're just fucking hilarious. I play a lot of the Demo Man, who's that like black Scottish Cyclops.
Yeah.
And I love him. He's great. Actually, I have where is it? You know what? I don't have it put up because my TV stand is going to collapse any day now. But I have a figure of the Demo Man, which is fantastic. I decided I wanted to play an alternative version of Demo Man called the Demo Knight, where he has like a shield and like a sword, and he charges in and cuts people's heads off. He has
That's pretty cool.
He has a weapon called the Eyelander because he has one eye, so instead of Highlander.
Oh no!
And as you claim heads, you get more health and you get faster, which is fucking awesome. Because he's like there can be only one kind of style. His one eye starts to glow and shit. It's pretty sick.
I take actual like. Oh, that character's me, except I'm not black.
Right.
Or Scottish. But I have the eye going on, so like...
And if you could play with explosives for the rest of your life, you probably would.
Who says I'm not doing that now?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely do that now.
I mean, yeah.
But not as a career. Yet.
Okay. So I had to explain to the techs. We had something go on the other day at work, but I had to explain to the techs. It got into this whole conversation that if your package is like kind of soft, almost like Play-Doh, and it smells like almonds, get rid of that.
Sorry, what package?
Like if you get a package in the mail.
Because I don't think my junk has ever smelled like almonds, Joe.
Oh, well, you're not doing it right.
It's a little soft.
You should
most
probably
of the time.
eat more nuts. Oh, that was... I don't know how I feel
these
about that.
nuts.
Oh, god damn it. So anyway, I was like, if you ever get a suspicious package, make sure it's not like almost like a putty or a Play-Doh feeling, and like if it smells like almonds, you should probably get rid of it immediately. And they were like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, it's because like a lot of plastic explosives for some reason smell like almonds.
Huh.
And then I went into like how to detect a car bomb and a couple other things, and they were like, how do you know all this? Why do you know all this? And of course, me being me, I'm like, I was a criminal justice major. Of course I know these things. Right. And other reasons. But mostly just I was a criminal justice major. And like, they were like, oh, you just sound really paranoid. I'm like, in my head, I'm like screaming, like, yeah, I am. I am really paranoid at sometimes. But, we don't talk about that except for me and my counselor. She's a great woman. I hope she never listens to this podcast.
We're making assumptions that, or at least they're making assumptions that paranoia is a bad thing. Paranoia is not a bad thing. Paranoia to the point of obsession is a bad thing.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I'm not quite there yet.
No.
But definitely got like, I'm not sitting with my back to the door. That's all I'm saying. If I'm going out, I gotta know where the exits are.
Right. Well, why do you think my computer faces the wall or faces away from the wall that shares with my door?
Well, it's so people can't walk in on you masturbating.
Exactly. Well,
they're gonna
not necessarily always that.
I mean, they're gonna definitely walk in there and be like, "Oh shit!"
In one way or the other, that's not helping anything. But no one can sneak in and stab me in my back or choke me out with chloroform.
Too. I mean, I've been trying, but just
eventually you'll get
halfway through the door, and he's all I hear. I'm like, shit, he's waking up. I'm just gonna leave.
One of these days you'll walk in, there'll just be a bunch of cans tied in the hallway, and you'll wake me up that way.
I mean, I'm just saying, I don't want to kill you because then we have to fill your hours, and I mean, I would totally go to first shift. I'm gonna self-kill Anthony. Anyway, no, don't kill Anthony.
There are other options for going to first shift than killing me.
I'm not killing Jim. He's already half dead, dude.
Yeah,
I don't want to take the rest of the love out of
He doesn't have as much life left. You just don't worry about it.
It's not like he's going to run away from me. Oh, anyway, so Anthony decided to completely drop the ball this week, as he usually does.
It's pretty typical.
And didn't research anything for the podcast, so I'm hijacking the podcast again. Now, I want to let you guys know that, yeah, I actually took some notes, so it's getting better. Just bear with me.
He's working on it.
I'm working on it. I have
Praise
some notes
Joe.
in my phone. Yeah, exactly. Praise me.
Don't forget to like in the comments and say, good job, Joe.
No, don't do that. Or do that.
Please.
Just view the damn video. We need more views, all right?
Comments always help, too.
Comments help wonderfully. Subscribe. Like and subscribe. And if you don't, I'll hunt you down. And I'll eat your fucking soul. Sorry. Anyway, so I've hijacked the show, and I'm doing a topic today. And my topic doesn't involve those stupid nerd-ass video games or, like, any fucking weird hentai porn or Japan show or whatever the hat in time is. I don't fucking know. But it doesn't involve a hat or weird children. But it does involve a whole lot of gratuitous violence, drinking, and a wonderful version of heaven. That is the best version of heaven. Don't argue with me because I'll stab you in the throat.
Hell yeah, Til Vallhalla.
Yes. So we're talking about Vikings today. So what I'm going to need you guys to do is grab your ale horn, throw on your wolf pelt, and raise your swords to the sky. And if it's your thing, do a whole bunch of just like hallucinogenic mushrooms and gear up, fuckers, because we're going for a ride today. And Anthony's along with the ride. Right,
yeah,
Anthony?
We're going on a long ride over Bifrost.
Yeah, I mean, that's the legends. I mean, I can totally get into that. But let me clear up some things. I apologize, people. I've been drinking a little bit and other things. Not like bad other things. I've been drinking, all right? So, everybody says that the Vikings were a race. That's a damn lie, all right? Elves are a race. I've finally gotten around to accepting that the elves are a race. If you don't know that rant, go back to the Dungeons and Dragons episode, and you'll understand why I'm apologizing to the elves. Okay?
Yeah, we nearly had to shut down the podcast for that one.
And so it's definitely not a race. It's not a race of people. Viking basically means pirate.
Yeah.
All right. They were raiders. They would go out and be like, "Hey, you got some real nice shiny objects. Now I want some real nice shiny objects, okay? So I'm going to take them." But I don't know if it's the cool thing or not, but the Vikings...
all the hip kids are doing it.
Like, all the hip kids are doing it. But the Vikings would never legitimately, just take your things and leave you. They would have to kill you first, because apparently that's the more gentleman way to do it. They would kill you, then sack
it
your
would be
village.
Cruel to leave you in poverty.
I mean, yeah.
Killing you is
took
just
all of your
killing you.
things. Exactly. I mean, we might take some slaves, but, especially elvish slaves. Damn it, I did it again. We're going to take some slaves, but, it's... 900 BC. Who isn't taking slaves at this point?
All right, fair enough.
Everyone
else is doing it.
Who's not? Hell, did you see America in the
all the hip
1700s?
kids are doing it.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's really not forgivable yet either.
Yeah, that's definitely not forgivable yet. But the Viking age all really kind of started. Hang on, let me pull out my notes, because I've got notes.
He's got
right?
notes.
They're on my phone because I didn't go hard with it or anything, but. So, the Viking Age started in approximately 793 AD with the raid on Linden's Farm Monastery. Okay? Let me tell you a little about this raid. So, there's a couple of guys. They don't really give names.
They were up to no good.
Yeah, exactly.
Started causing trouble in the neighborhood.
Scandinavian neighborhood, and well, they took that neighborhood over, and then they were like, we should just go take other neighborhoods over.
Got a one little fight, and my mom got scared. She said, "You're moving with your auntie and uncle in New Greenland." Not New Greenland.
It's not at all. It's England, but okay. So they're like, "Hey, man, we don't really have a lot to do here. Like, we can farm, and we got some sheep and, goats and stuff, but that's not really cool. We're bored." So they were like, "Hey, I heard there's this land out west. I don't know what it's called, but they got a lot of really good stuff out there. We should go hit them up and see what's up." All right. So they go sailing one time, and they just happen to fall upon this tiny little monastery. Oh, excuse me. So they come up on this monastery, and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, man, you know who has really nice stuff this time? Or this point in time? Motherfucking Catholics." And monasteries and monks, they all got this crazy gold and really good stuff. You know what we have? We have fucking winter and sheep. All right. Look, I'm not saying I don't like winter, but Viking winters are a whole nother thing, apparently.
Well, that's a little bit harder to survive through, especially in 798 or whatever you said.
Yeah, and 793 AD. And they
didn't have insulation.
They didn't have insulation. They had sheep bladders. That's pretty much all the insulation they had. They would skin animals for fur, but let's be real here. I'm pretty sure a North Face down feathered coat is probably going to be a lot better than,
whatever they had.
Sheepskin and wolf fur. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because I'd wear the hell out of a wolf pelt.
It'd probably be a little itchy.
It would be a little itchy, but not like a real wolf pelt, because I like wolves.
Yeah,
and
that's
wolves
cruel.
That's mean. But sheep, you can just shear them and everything. But yeah, they did wear a lot of cotton, or not cotton, wool. There we go. The cotton is not made from sheep.
No. Yeah.
So they come up on this monastery, and they're like, "Hey, what's up with those fucking bald-headed dudes up there?" And
oh, those are the incels. They don't fuck.
Which the Vikings would have a huge problem with, because one of the reasons that they needed to expand is because their population was booming, because all they really did was fucking fight. That's right. Literally all they did. And we
could have had an alternate universe where the Vikings learned from the monastery and actually practiced like not fucking as much, and then they could have controlled their population that way. Instead.
You take that back. You take it back. Anyway, I mean, they could have, and actually, a lot of people think that like Vikings are just these big, beefy, dumbass raiders. When in all actuality, they weren't. They were actually like when they raided these things, they were tactically sound.
Sure.
Like, they were almost the first guerrilla warfare. Like, they wouldn't meet you on the battlefield. They'd come through in the middle of the night, burn your shit down, take all your things, and then leave.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what they did on Lyndon's farm. They came in, they were like, hey, monks, do you have any weapons? They were like, no. They were like, damn, well, this isn't as fun anymore. But they slaughtered them anyway because, fuck monks, apparently.
I guess so.
And, like, I don't know what beef they had. They could have just taken their treasure and, like, left, but whatever. I mean,
they didn't have beef. Right? Wasn't that the issue?
Yeah, but that was the issue. You can only have so much mutton,
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, mutton's not bad, but also at the same time, fuck, dude, I want a hamburger,
Yeah.
But so they come through and they raided or whatever, and these monks were like, what in the actual fuck just hit us? And, like, it was rough. Like, they'd never seen these guys. I mean, put yourself in the monk situation. You're like, oh, God, you're so godly.
Yeah,
and
a bunch of beefy, hairy Norsemen just show up on a boat and fuck your life up.
You got a bunch of people in wolf pelts, these beefy, hairy men wearing shields and axes with, like, they look like animals. They're jumping off of boats, screaming in a fucking language you don't know. I would be terrified. Yeah. Okay? I'm not scared of much, but I'd be like, hey, maybe we should lock the door a little bit harder.
I'm American. I'm already afraid of other languages.
I tried to teach myself how to speak Norwegian one time. Let's just say it's not easy, all right? It's not quite learning English, but it's not.
Oh, you should have your son learn it.
Oh God, no! He's already learning Spanish and English.
Yeah, he can learn more languages.
It's all gonna be fun and games until he's swearing at me in Spanish, and then I'm gonna have to go Viking on him and smack him in the head with a wooden axe. Like, knock it off.
Just teach him like swears in Norwegian, so he runs around screaming it, and other parents like, oh, that's cute. He's like saying something in his own made up language. You're like, yeah.
It's all fun and games till Ashton pillages the neighbor's clubhouse, and like, it's like, dude, no.
That was gonna happen anyway.
You can't do that. Please stop. Right. Yeah, so they do this raid on Lyndon's farm or whatever, and they come back and they tell their Viking, because they were not a unified country in any way, shape, or form. It was like almost like a city-state type thing. Like, but they were more like along the lines of like clans.
Sure.
And this clan comes back and they're like, hey, fuckers, so let me tell you about this really green-ass place that it's called England. All right? So much better than me. There's so much better than here. It's not as cold. There's green. They got cows.
There's more Christians to fuck up.
There's definitely a lot of people to fuck up there. So, of course, they've got to hit it again. Now, in comes this asshole whose name is Ragnar Lothbrok.
Oh, that's pretty sick.
Right? Or Lodbrok, I think. Lothbrok. I don't know. There's a couple different pronunciations out there. So he decides, hey, look, England's cool and all, but have you met these guys named the Franks? So this already starts the shitstorm off for what is now going to become France eventually. They're already learning how to surrender. Like, I'm sorry. If you're French, I apologize. You're really good at kissing and fries, but warfare's not really your thing. I mean, fuck, dude. They even put that on the French Foreign Legion. They were like, we can't fight, but we'll hire you to do it for us.
I feel like one day I'm going to have to, like, research French wars. Because I know they did recently. What am I saying? I know they did relatively well in a lot of the wars back when they were, like, a world power.
Yeah. Not so much anymore.
No.
But so this Ragnar Lothbrok guy comes in, Ragnar, which I was trying to name my son, but my wife decided not to. Whatever. The dog's named Valkyrie, so whatever, I get some points. And he comes in, he's like, guys, there is a whole nother side to this continent. Yeah. Oh, excuse me. Damn. This ale is getting me a little burpy tonight. And he decides he wants to come through and sack Paris. Okay, he sacked a couple other towns, but he's like, hey, we're going to the Super Bowl that is fucking Paris.
Right.
All right. Have you seen that city? The City of Lights is going to be the City of Flames. Well, I'm done with that fucking place.
It'll still be lit
taking
up.
Everything. Okay. So before they get to Paris, they sack another French city that was decent. And this guy was like, hey, whoa, stop burning down my city. And Ragnar, with the torch and axe in hands, like, well, how the fuck are you going to make us do that? And he's like, I will pay you to go away. All right.
Reasonable.
And I mean, if anyone says, hey, don't burn down my house, I'll give you a couple of $1,000 if you don't burn down my house. I mean, you're going to take that $1,000, right?
I mean, it's a lot cheaper than, the insurance cost of your whole city.
Exactly. So this guy pays off Ragnar, and he's like, hey, why don't we just turn this into a hustle? Let's go terrorize some people.
See, now that's
he was extorting people.
That's the biggest brain play I've heard so far. Because so far it's just been like, hey, Vikings, go fuck up these guys instead. Hey, Vikings, go fuck up these guys instead. This one guy finally sits down and he's like, these guys will fuck up anything you point in a general direction of. Why don't I make some money off this?
Exactly. So he extorts another couple little tiny kingdoms. And then he meets the whatever of Paris. I don't know if he's the king of the Franks or whatever, but the little fucker's in Paris. And he's like, these stupid Norsemen are not getting my shit. They can fuck right off. Right? Well, of course, Ragnar's like, yeah. No, you don't do that, asshole. You don't tell us to fuck off. We just want your money and we'll leave.
Right.
All right.
Well, the last thing you want to do is put up more of a fight against them because that's what they want.
That's what they want. I mean, Valhalla is their creed. Like, so he comes in and he's like, all right, fuck them. We're storming, we're not Normandy. That was World War II.
We're storming Normandy. The
Normandy
Vikings
actually does come into play. There's
took
a reason why it's named
a few
Normandy.
century long break.
Right. Few centuries.
Century.
And he's like, we're going to storm Paris, all right? But here's the problem. Paris has got giant-ass brick walls built around it.
Damn.
So they were like, hey, we'll hit it on the fucking river. Well, you know what? The French put these giant-ass chains over the river so the Viking longships couldn't get through. They're like, damn. So they had a couple of skirmishes, right? And Ragnar gets this idea. He was like, you know what? Tell them that they killed me in battle. They're
okay.
Like, what? He's like, hang on. Hold me on. Just hold me out. Tell him you killed me in battle. And that you guys, now that the king is dead, you want to convert over to Christianity and have him buried as a Christian so he can go to heaven, yada, yada.
Huh.
They were like, that's super weird. And no, we're not doing that because we ain't Christian. He's like, you dumb fucks. I'm not dead. They were like, oh, shit. Okay. So, like, put him in a casket. They're like, blah, blah, blah. Hey, Mr. King, can you fucking bury my dude? Because, like, we're Christians now. I swear to your God, we're Christians now. Like, that means anything. So, in this casket and a couple other of the burial items, these guys don't notice that the burial items are really heavy and that they come in these giant pots and stuff. But whatever, right? You know, he's a king. He's probably eccentric. Well, they go to lay him to rest in a monastery. Their guard is completely fucking dropped. It's in the middle of the night. Dude jumps out of the casket, fucking murders everybody around him, gets to the gates with his guards, pops the gate open. The fucking Vikings are now in Paris. All hell is gonna ensue.
They fucking like Trojan horsed them?
They basically Trojan horsed them. You'd think that wouldn't work twice, but it fucking did.
Sometimes the simplest plans are the most effective.
I mean, you gotta play to the king's arrogance, right? Like, oh yeah, you want to be Christian now, huh? All right, fuck you guys. Come fight for me, blah, blah, blah. Well, he didn't, so now they sacked Paris. Well, he's like, I like Paris, but it's kind of shit.
Well, after you fucked it up, yeah.
I mean, you burn it down, you're going to be like, that kind of sucks.
Oh, man, this charred wasteland is kind of shitty. What are you guys even doing here in Paris? You fuckers should quit smoking, because this is a travesty.
So he gets this huge thing to sack a place called Northumberland. Well, the king there is not. I can't think of the king right offhand, but he is not having it. Now this time, Ragnar can't pull that fucking stunt. And he is vastly outnumbered. The king of Northumberland has a huge ass army. So Ragnar, being Ragnar, decides to wage war on him anyway. So he ends up going to war with them. They get into these conflicts. It goes on for about a year or two. Well, eventually Ragnar he's getting his ass whooped pretty bad. These guys are full plate armor knights type of thing.
Right.
Pre-plate armor, but you know what I mean.
Chivalry goes a little bit longer of a way when, your competition is a bunch of buff boys on a boat.
Not buff, they weren't really, they were armored, but it was chainmail.
Yeah. We're not talking about like steel plate here.
Yeah, we're not talking about steel plates. But Ragnar comes through. Of course, he's like, I'm losing horribly. I'm going to fucking Valhalla. Well, he gets captured. The fucking king decides he wants to put him to death in the most metal fucking way possible and throws him into a snake pit. Two questions. Neat. Okay, why did he throw him in the snake pit? And two, where the fuck did you get venomous snakes in the middle of England?
My lord, why did you ask me to pick up all of these snakes?
We lost 7 guys getting these things.
I want to throw the king of the Vikings into a snake pit. My lord, we lost 32 peasants collecting those snakes. Yeah, but it's gonna be pretty fucking sick. So just relax, okay?
I'm just saying, where did you get them? How far did you have to get them? There's no poisonous snake as far as I know. I'm not a snake guy, but I don't think there's poisonous snakes in England.
Listen, in England, they just had old Robert, the snake breeder.
Robert the snake breeder.
And he wasn't doing too well. His business wasn't doing too hot. Who the fuck goes and buys snakes? So the king looks at his local businesses, and he's like, yeah, fucking support the snake dude. I fucking appreciate the hustle of this guy selling snakes. And you know what? After this went down, Robert was making fucking bank. Who wouldn't buy snakes from the guy?
Now you can sell them as like a novelty item.
Yeah.
These are the snakes that killed Ragnar.
Yeah.
These guys were really hustling back in the day.
Viking slaying serpents, my dude.
Yeah, right? You milk them a little bit, and now you can poison your wife or whatever you're going to do with it. I don't know where I'm going.
That seems pretty typical for that era.
You can even do that today and pretty much get away with it. Who's going to fucking test for snake venom?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Especially uncommon, like England snake venom.
I don't think there's any... I don't think there's any actual, poisonous snakes in England. I might be wrong. I don't know.
We'll find out.
But... So he gets thrown. Now he's got a bunch of sons. All right. The two you really only need to know are Bjorn Ironside and Ivar the Boneless. All right.
What happened to his bones?
It's not because he was a boneless. I don't know why they called him boneless. That's kind of out. Some people said
whenever they went to KFC, he was like, "Could I get the boneless?" And everyone else is like, "Dude, the traditional's better, man."
And if you're gonna go boneless, you got to eat it off the bone like an animal. If you go boneless, well, I can't accept you as a man anymore.
Oh, you know what? There are adders in England.
There are adders in England?
Yeah.
How many peasants still died, though?
Well, definitely a lot.
How do you catch them? That thing looks like it's camouflage type thing. Hey, how's it going? Oh, damn. All right, well, I'm dead now. But no, that's a metal-ass way to die, though. Get thrown in a snake pit?
Yeah, I would hate it, but it's still pretty cool.
Okay, this might get a little dark, but if you captured your enemy... and you were like, I need to dispose of this asshole. How the hell are you going to do it? Get creative with me. Don't be like, I'm just going to lop off his head. Get fucking creative about it, Anthony.
Yeah, I guess if you're telling me I need to get creative, so the cool thing about the snakes, right, is that they use their available resources. So what we're going to have to do is, utilize our available resources. And I don't know what mine are.
We don't have any.
Well, all right,
we live in the Midwest. Okay, ranch dressing's involved somehow.
Just force feed them ranch dressing until they die. I don't know about that one. it's not like it's something that's, come to mind very often. I don't typically think about how I kill my enemies, Joe.
You know how, like, the Arabic people have stoning? In the Midwest, we have corning. We just throw corn at you until you die.
That would kill someone eventually. If you ever,
like
ran
5 days later when they die of dehydration.
Oh, okay, here it is. All right. Chase them through a cornfield, right?
Oh, no.
just continuously chase them until they're, full on, tuckered out. They're too tired to keep moving. By the way, they're constantly getting their fucking, skin cut by the corn husks. Because if you ever ran through a cornfield, I have.
It hurts.
Yeah, you get, a million fucking cuts.
And they're, paper cuts, too. Yeah.
So, there's the classic adage of, death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that would necessarily kill them in this case. They don't really bleed from corn husk cuts, but that's a pretty good one. And then just pelt them with corn after they collapse.
That's the true Midwestern death right there, Anthony. Oh, God. Okay, so say you died in battle in the Midwest and you go to Midwestern Valhalla. What is in Midwestern Valhalla, Anthony?
I guess a good chunk of people from the Civil War or the England versus the Native American War, right?
I mean, not like that, but describe the Valhalla.
You mean
Odin had his great hall.
You mean modern day?
Yeah, give me an American Valhalla.
I mean, it'd obviously be a Casey's.
I mean, you would have to. It has to be a Casey's, but
and then what were? Oh, you know what? There's actually a really good one for this. What were the Indians of this area? The Potomac?
Or Potawatomi? I'm not quite sure what the Indians of this area was.
Not long hair. Google, help me out.
Actually, do you know the Vikings traded with the Indians? Up in Newfoundland?
Yeah. The Vikings ended up making it around the Canada area.
Yeah, they came around the Canada area and way before Columbus committed genocide and was just being a big dick. And the Vikings were, sorry, my knuckles they hurt tonight. Probably from swinging all them axes. And
there's that axe throwing place in town. Have you been there yet?
I haven't been there yet, but I want to. I also don't know if I should do axe throwing. Have you been
Why
there?
not? Will it awaken something in you?
I feel like it will, that I've been trying to repress, and the worst place is going to come out is the hospital. So now all of it...
You just start throwing syringes around.
He's created a shield wall out of gurneys.
Was that a scalpel? Yeah, those things are sharp, so,
Just throwing scalpel blades at people. And, but no, Leif Erikson actually set foot 500 years before Columbus came here. Because Columbus sucks. Columbus sucks really bad.
He's a douche.
Yeah, they didn't commit genocide. They were like, "Hey guys, let's be traded and everything." They set up a little thing, but they were like, "Yeah, we're good." And it was beautiful. Are you Googling Midwestern Valhalla?
No, there was an Indian tribe in the area, and I wish I could remember the name. They were named after these long halls they would build. Where typically their elders would gather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they would basically decide, major decisions for the community. Yeah. Your modern day kind of courthouse kind of deal. And actually, our American system of governing is kind of founded on that system.
That's dope.
Yeah.
The Indians are dope people, man.
Right.
I've had the privilege to sit down and talk with a few Indians, real Indians, Sauk Indians.
Oh yeah,
and that they're really cool. They're a lot better than Americans. I don't know how to say that in any other way. Their rituals and how they lived and shit was really cool. And I mean, if you really look at it, the Vikings were kind of the same way. They were pagans, man. They were really into Earth and everything. Their gods are cool as shit too.
Yeah, I would imagine just being a people who've lived off the land forever. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of technology, sure.
Oh, we all are.
But just living naturally like that, being one with peace and nature and all that kind of shit. I mean, I'm not even just peace because, there were some tough bastards in there too. But that idea is kind of awesome. I kind of dig it in a way.
I'm about that, you know, and like I said, the Vikings kind of lived the same way. They were very pagan. They believed in rituals. Like the way they wrote things, they used what they called the runic alphabet. That was literally like Scandinavia was the only place that really used it. Like Scandinavia and some Germanic societies. And it was a lot of nature-based thing, like wind and water and fire. Like there were a lot of different signs for those. And the pagans were very like the gods, which is interesting enough. Like if you really look at the gods, I mean everybody knows especially from the Marvel movies, like Odin and Thor. You know, which are cool as shit because, I mean, Thor's hammers are the shit. Mjolnir is awesome. I have Mjolnir hanging around my neck right now.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, like, if we're talking legendary weapons, that's like number one.
Yeah, that's number
Besides,
one.
Besides, damn, I wish I was on my game today because there's like a fucking curved thunder sword in, like, Indian myth. Like
that's kind of dope, too.
It's like one of those swords where it's, like, jagged, like a lightning strike, and it's, like a thunder sword, and I want to say it was like Rye something. No, not Rye something, because that would be Japanese. It was definitely like one of those other weapons I looked up, and I'm like, this is fucking dope. The Celtics also had a million dope-ass weapons.
The Celtic mythology really goes hard, too. Odin actually carried this boss-ass looking spear called Gungnir.
Yes.
Like, and that thing, he would just huck that thing, and it would, like, explode through people and shit. Like, it was cool. I don't know. I guess I like the older gods as opposed to like the newer ones. Like,
I'm likely not pronouncing this right, but the sword I'm thinking of is Vajra.
Vajra?
Yeah.
That's dope. Oh, that looks cool. I'd wield it.
Fuck yeah.
Like, they had really cool weapons. Like, Odin had his spear. Thor had his hammer. Tyr had his sword. Tyr actually... if you ever look it up, the Ulfberht sword.
Well, that's a name.
Yeah. It is like, they still haven't figured out how the hell the Vikings made it. They were like, this steel is way too pure.
Yeah.
For that time being, like, they didn't have the tools. They didn't have that knowledge. What the fuck? How did they do this?
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have been able to even fold iron at that point, right?
No, they wouldn't have.
Because that's how you'd remove that impurity, is by folding it and then hammering it out.
They don't know how they did it.
Which I think, like, forgive me if I'm getting this wrong. I think you only need to fold it like 12 times to really get rid of like all the impurities that matter.
Something like that.
Because any more than that would just be like kind of pointless. It's diminishing returns. You get to the point where the impurities you're hammering out are so minuscule it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter, and you're just putting in more work.
I'm reading a manga that ended up talking about that at one point. Because of course I am.
Of course you are.
It's fucking awesome.
The Vikings had wonderful books too, like the Poetic Edda and the Poetic Völuspá. Yeah. The Völuspá goes a little harder. It is definitely very weird, but I mean, I read it. It was dope. They also have this thing that I do keep on me a lot, the Hannibal. I don't know how to pronounce it really. But it's the Odin's Book of Knowledge, and like legit, that thing's got some cool ass things to say. Like it's kind of like the Vikings Bible, and to where like Christianity had the 10 commandments. Odinism doesn't have the 10 commandments. Odinism has the 9 noble virtues. It's kind of like, instead of, you know, these are the rules. Like Christianity is really big about the rules it needs to follow, to where Odinism and the Viking culture was more like, hey man, you should exhibit these 9 virtues. Instead of following these rules, you should kind of exhibit these virtues.
Maybe as like a little bit more of a suggestion rather than a firm rule.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, because nobody really wants to be told like, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's a sin. It's like, well, then I'm going to sin. Fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, if you're being urged, like, listen, you'll be less of a dickhead if you do these things. I mean, you don't have to. But, like, these things are things you should follow. It's like, well, guess what? You're probably going to find more people who are going to follow that.
Yeah, you should absolutely follow it. And it's cool because, like, the 9 noble virtues, I honestly, I think everybody should kind of, like, live by them, you know, because they're awesome. The 9 noble virtues are truth, courage, honor, fidelity, discipline, hospitality, self-reliance, industriousness, and perseverance.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, be strong, be truth, honor your family, honor your kin, love your woman.
Help people who need it.
Yeah, help people who need it. Invite strangers into your home and make them feel comfortable. Now, if they insult you, yeah, you could plunge a fucking sword into their chest because that was not taken lightly.
Hospitality goes out the door when this person's an asshole.
Once you insult, like, the Vikings had the law of Holmgang.
Come again?
The law of Holmgang, which basically means if you insult me once, it can be solved through words. If you insult me twice, it can be taken to the council, or like the elders. You insult me 3 times, I can avenge it in blood. Like, I am all for that. I am all for that. And there was actually the act of Holmgang, which basically you'd be like, hey, me and this guy don't get along. I want to fight him. He can fight me. Now, they say it's to the death, but some scholars have said, like, there was rules in place and wasn't always to the death. Like,
right.
But, yeah, it was literally like, I want to fight you, you want to fight me, here's the rules. Fucking winner takes glory type thing.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like you're just going to get called racist shit over the internet. Like, we've came so far.
Yeah.
But yet, we've become so soft.
If you're gonna insult someone, but you're not willing to front up over it, then you're just a coward.
Mm-hmm. And,
fight me IRL.
The courage, these guys always like, God, did you just say in real life? I hate you.
Yeah. And just to add something, I found out the thing I was thinking of with the Native Americans, it was the Iroquois.
Okay.
Yeah, they had those long huts that they would govern in.
Which also the Vikings had.
The Vikings had huts.
They did have huts. Longhouses.
Right.
Where, the Jarl, or the chief of the tribe, so to speak, the Jarl would have his stuff and he would hold banquets, and the longhouse was a really cool idea. And I think we should bring those back. They're the shit. Like, it's a longhouse. It's a like a longhouse. It's got a fire pit in the middle of it and banquet tables that surround it. And they would just have barrels of, like, mead and ale. Like, what's not... We need to party like Vikings again. I think that would really, really be awesome. I mean, you're just roasting a pig or a lamb
right.
over an open fire in the middle of the room.
Are we pretending like we need an excuse to eat a fuck ton of food and drink a fuck ton of beer? Because I don't think we need an excuse. Let's just do that.
Point. I mean, Yule is coming up.
Yeah.
So, by the way, all right, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here. And I know I might offend some people, but god damn it, Christianity, you stole so much from the pagans. The Norse pagans, to be exact.
Yeah, so we have some, like, classic fucking Christmas stuff that is basically just kind of ripped out of Norse.
It's pretty much all ripped.
Like, tick for tat, yeah.
Like, okay, everybody loves Christmas trees.
Sure.
And everyone's like, oh, Christmas isn't Christmas without the Christmas tree, You're right, it's not, but it came from paganism.
I can only imagine the fucking Norse being like, oh, we didn't have a Christmas pine tree. We had a fucking razor tree made out of razor blades.
It's just axes hanging on them.
And if the children wanted their gifts, they'd have to crawl through the fucking...
Well, that's where Krampus comes in, too.
Yeah, I thought Krampus was a Norse thing.
It's a blend between Norse and Germanic ideas.
Gotcha.
But... So... Every Yule, December 21st in our calendar, they would go out and they would decorate trees to draw the woodland spirit back in, because they figured winter was the dead time of the year.
Oh, right.
And, like, they would want to bring those spirits back, so they would put things like ornaments type things and, like, meats and cheeses and everything on the trees or around the trees to get the spirits to come back. So, Christianity was like, well, we're going to take that shit. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, we still have the wild hunt that begins on Yule and lasts till January 3rd, which is 12 days. They're like, ha ha ha, ha no.
Oh man.
We have the 12 days of Christmas now. And then they made that stupid ass song about it. They stole that too. Santa is fucking Odin, Anthony.
Yeah.
Yeah, Santa is Odin without the eye patch. Literally, this giant man who Odin was known for his red robes.
We should have Santa be represented with an eye patch more often. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, like make Santa kind of like this buff ass Viking. Why's he gotta be a fat old dude?
Yeah,
like I'm just saying.
It was all those years of drinking Coke.
And yeah, I mean Santa is essentially Odin, and like, so they kind of stole that from him. The reindeer. Where did reindeer come from, Anthony?
No, they definitely came from the Middle East, right?
I'm gonna tell you right now, reindeer don't fucking come from England. Right?
Reindeer definitely come from sand, They love it down there.
And yeah, so they were like, oh well, you guys have reindeer in your country. It was I don't know, fucking they drove a sleigh or some shit. But I can go on and on about that. Like, and they adapted so many things that I can't remember right off the hand, but I mean, hell, 4 out of the 7 days of the week are named after.
Yeah, you were telling me this before.
Yeah.
So what was it all again?
Thursday is the god of war, Tears Day. Or Tuesday, yeah, not Thursday. I said Thursday. Damn it. Tuesday was Tears Day. Wednesday was Odin's Day, but pronounced in Germanic, it's Woden. Thursday is Thor's Day, and Friday is Freya's Day. Or Frigg's Day. Frigg's Day. Yeah, I might be getting those mixed up. But that was the wife of Odin.
Right.
So 4 of the 7 days of the week are named after Nordic gods. Like, because the Christians were like, shit, dude. Like, if we can't beat them, fuck it. Let's just buy them and incorporate their culture. Like, they were like, we can't do a fucking crazy-ass takeover, so we're just going to buy them out and assimilate everything that they have into ours. Basically, what Disney just did to Fox. Like, I mean, essentially, that's kind of what happened. Like,
we made these.
And the Vikings were definitely known for their battles and all their kind of crazy shit. And my favorite Viking story is the Berserker of Stamford Bridge. In the Battle of Hastings in 10 something, I don't remember the exact date, but Harold Hardrada took his army and decided to attack the King of England. Well, the King of England was a lot more prepared than Harold had thought. So he was like, fuck, we need to get back to Longships. So there was this big-ass, deep-ass river that you couldn't necessarily cross. There was only one bridge in like a couple mile span. So
guess who owned that bridge?
Yeah, so they're all retreating back. They were like, we can't retreat fast enough, blah, blah, blah. They're coming. So this one berserker was like, guys, I'm going to fend these fuckers off.
Hell yeah.
So a berserker is an insane, like, mushroom-tripped manimal who doesn't fear anything. Like, they thought taking these mushrooms made you immune to steel and fire.
Hell yeah.
So, like, this guy's already batshit ass crazy. And he's dual-wielding axes. He has no armor on. He's buck-ass naked other than a wolf's fur, dude.
So, my ideal, like, version of machismo.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's kind of it, And he comes back. That guy ended up killing over 100 soldiers before they found a boat and sailed underneath him and stabbed him through the fucking bridge with spears, and that still didn't kill him. He took out like 20 more guys before that ended up killing him. You
get stabbed right in your fucking gooch from underneath the bridge.
That's pretty much it.
And that just pissed him off more.
That just pissed him off more, and like they ended up killing him or whatever, but the army fucking got away. And like, yeah, over 100 some people killed by this one berserker. Like, that would suck. And be like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck this guy. Oh, maybe not. Oh, Johnny, no. John, oh, he's dead now too.
It's the classic like funnel strategy.
No one thought about shooting an arrow at this guy. Or
I guess not, or at least like throw rocks, dude.
Like, do something. Like, but I think it's the machismo. Like, oh, we'll take him on. Fuck that. You know, we got to show him who's boss.
Right. One guy's fronting up against a whole army. The army's just pissed off at this point.
I mean, they would, and like you're like, no, I gotta fucking kill him in the way I want to kill him. You know, fuck that.
Right. Respect.
They were more than just barbarians, so to speak, to put it in your fucking nerd terms. They were more than just barbarians. Like, they were really into poetry. Like, they wrote several poetic sagas.
Yeah.
They were very cleanly people. Like, for that time, Vikings bathed a lot. And, like,
And not just in blood and beer.
Right, which... Trust me, they did a lot, but you know, they came home after a good battle and took a nice bath, maybe put on some candles and like, you know, shined up their axe and
I thought you were gonna say ass. Shined up their ass.
You know, and they were actually known for this thing called flighting.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically like a very medieval kind of rap battle in a way. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, you play off of each other's words in a certain cadence. And
the original Yo Mama competition.
Yeah, it actually was kind of like a Yo Mama competition. And they were really into it. Like, that was a big thing in the Viking days. I mean, they didn't have much to do other than, you know, farm and raid.
Fuck, kill, slaughter, and sometimes write poems.
Like, they were also, in my opinion, and there are scholars that will back me up on this, they were the best, like, traders in the world.
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, you can believe that if you want something to get traded with a certain people, the Vikings are going to be going towards those people for one reason or another.
Hey, back in 2017, they dug up a Viking's grave, and the Viking, which was a woman, she was a chieftain or an earl, or jarl, whatever. Jarl, which that was huge, dude, because women didn't have rights back then. Women were property. Now all of a sudden, this woman is a fucking war commander. Yeah. She's a shield maiden, bro. Like, they fought alongside their men. They didn't give a shit. Yeah. Like, they were like, hey, can you swing a sword? Come on.
Hell yeah.
Let's do this.
You'd think it'd be an equal playing field when all your weapons are big fucking axes anyway.
Oh, pretty much. Like, and they found a ring on her finger that basically had Arabic writing on it.
Oh.
That translated Love Allah or something like that. So there's evidence that they were trading as far as the Middle East.
Shit.
That's crazy as hell if you really stop and think about it.
Yeah.
Like, they traded everywhere. They traded with Italians. They traded with Russians. They raped and pillaged a lot of the Slavic areas, but that's not neither here nor there. All right,
it's in Russia.
Right,
it's not here or there.
It is not. Yeah, they went all the way down like to Spain, and that whole Mediterranean. They were in the Mediterranean. There was actually a guy named Rollo, and he came over with Ragnar's raids. And when Ragnar had died, there was this king that had hired Rollo, like, hey man, look, I'm sick of paying you to go away. How about I pay you to fight for me? And he was like, I mean, you're going to pay me to fight? All right. What do I got to do? He's like, hey, just convert to Christianity. So he's like, all right, cool. But I want a bunch of land to do it. He was like, all right, fine. So he gave them a whole sack of France, which is now Normandy.
Okay. We're coming back.
Literally, Normandy means land of the Northerners, pretty much.
Okay. That makes sense.
Or the Northmen, land of the Northmen. And he actually, like, took over a good swath of France and expanded his territory. Now it's under that king's crown or whatever.
Right.
But about 100 years down the line, down his generations, William the Conqueror, who was actually of Nordic descent, went into England and ended up conquering England. So in a way, they kind of conquered England, like bits and pieces of England. I mean, he didn't hold the throne forever, but like, you know, they, for a while there, they held on to England.
Yeah, even
too.
taking it for a minute would be pretty sick.
Yeah, I mean, they took it for a good while. But I mean, there's with the Normans and the Danes and the Anglo-Saxons, that was all just a clusterfuck in the Viking Age. But yeah, they took that, and that was really cool. So, yeah, that's why Normandy's called Normandy today. The Vikings helped establish Dublin. So yeah, the Irish and the Vikings definitely had, like, the Irish and the Celtic Normans, I do believe is what they're called. They had joined together and founded Dublin. So yeah, that's awesome. The Vikings and the Irish came up with Dublin. That's dope. I need to visit that city now. Like, especially being being part Irish, being part Dublin.
Yeah.
God damn it. Being
Part Dublin.
yeah, whatever. Being part Viking and part Irish, that's cool. I'm also part Polish as well, and doing a little bit of research into my family tree. We go back to Poland as well. We have some Polish roots. My grandmother's from Poland. And actually the area in Poland where she was at was territory of what they called the Yams Vikings. These guys were dope. They were basically Viking mercenaries. Like, hey, we don't really claim our own land, but this is our base. If you need some dirty deeds done, we work fairly cheap.
Dirt cheap.
Yeah, exactly. To quote AC/DC, like, they were Viking mercenaries, and like where my family comes from in Poland was kind of around the same part that their base was. So that could explain a lot of the Viking blood in me. But yeah, I think that was cool. They went on to a little later down after the Viking era. Fuck, I am just not on it today.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. After the Viking era, they had got picked up by the Emperor Byzantine.
Oh,
and
shit.
they became the Varangian Guard. They were his own personal guard because they heard of the exploits of the Yams Vikings. And Byzantine was like, hey, I want those fucking guys. Those are my guys.
Yeah.
And apparently he paid them well. Like, all these guys are rich as shit. And, I mean, that'd be cool if you could have a fucking bodyguard. Why not a bunch of, like, crazy-ass Vikings?
Right.
Like,
You can't put a price on good security.
No, you can't. Like,
Which is why we should be paid more.
Exactly. Paid more. And we should probably get, better
tools.
Yeah, better tools. Why did I not think of tools? And also better
Equipment.
people.
Yeah,
fuck you, Jeremiah. Oh,
Yeah, what does he even do?
right? But yeah, I mean, I would totally drink. Like, we should just bring it back. Certain aspects should be brought back to the Viking Age. Like, bring back home gun, goddammit. Like,
What's that?
where you can challenge anybody to a
Oh,
fight.
yeah,
and
yeah.
if they accept. They're like, yeah,
I thought you said a home gun, and I was like, you have plenty of guns at home.
Shh. The feds don't know about them. We're going to talk about this. But speaking of weapons, the Vikings, everyone thinks that they had these giant battle axes, which actually is not true. Like, they did not. They had these little circular shields.
Mm-hmm. Like a buckler.
Like a buckler, but a little bit bigger. And instead of putting their arm through, where if you got hit, you could potentially break your arm,
Yeah.
they had their hand punch through it. So not only, like their hand in the middle area, so not only could they hold it in battle a little bit easier.
Okay, I see.
But it was going to be a lot harder to break the hand because they had like a half moon over it, or like a half circle, so it would glance off type thing. Like, blades would glance off of it. And they would use that to actually, like, straight up punch people.
Which
like,
is awesome.
in the middle of battle, just punch people with a sword and hit you with an axe. They carried spears, axes, swords. Like, the axes were handheld. Like,
I mean, spears and axes are like, when we're talking like some of the easiest weapons to mass produce or create. I mean, an axe is literally you just put something sharp or hard on the end of a fucking stick. And it's certainly these were better than, you know, meagerly describing it as that. But I mean, if you're building an axe, that thing's not going to easily break. And even if it's not that sharp, you're going to be fucking someone's bones up.
Yeah.
You know, now swords are great. Don't get me wrong. They're probably the pinnacle of, you know, melee weaponry. But if you're not able to create like the sturdiest steel, they're more of a liability than other weapons. You know, or spearheads. Spearheads aren't that, you know, aren't as difficult to create either.
They're not.
Yeah. Or a fucking halberd. Hell yeah.
Halberd. Those things were dope. That was more of a knight thing though.
Right.
The Vikings did carry warhammers. Like your berserkers would use warhammers to just break down battle lines type thing. And how much would that suck? You're like an English general and everything, and you're like, haha, get them with the archers, and all of a sudden they form a shield wall. And your arrows aren't getting through it. You're like, what the fuck? Like, because the way their shields were designed, they were designed to interlock and like move forward as like a phalanx or a wall.
Right.
Like, I don't know about you, but I want to see a bunch of fucking giant Norsemen with like shields coming my way with axes chopping down from the shields.
Impenetrable defensive
maneuver. God damn it. Like,
then your doors don't stand a chance against their big fucking hammer.
Oh yeah, they're coming through.
Or like a battering ram.
That thing was basically a sledgehammer with a spike on the back of it.
Yeah.
And like the way they made it, it looked like a giant like
a maul.
Yeah, like a meat tenderizer type thing.
Yeah.
Like they would put tiny little spikes on the end of it so it would even more punch through your armor.
Yeah.
And like almost grip you type
tenderize
thing.
Your fucking plate mail.
And they would definitely do that. And it had the spike on the back of the head, or on the back end of it, so they can be like, "Oh yeah, fuck your helmet." Like, all I'm saying is, I might take the Viking way of home defense. All
right. Yeah. I mean, I would love to have a big ass hammer at the side of my bed.
Like,
that'd be fucking great.
Yeah. Like, I think
there was
everyone should carry hammers. Bring back hammers.
There's a story in, I think, the Poetic Edda. And I'd heard this story a while ago, so I don't remember all the parts of it that well, but I thought it was pretty cool. It's the story of, I think it's pronounced Utgard Loki, or Utgarda.
Yes, Utgard.
Yeah,
Utgard.
So you might remember the story better than I do, but you know, they come into the home of this
giant.
He's essentially a giant. His name is very similar to Loki, you know, the one you all know and love. But he, you know, obviously he's a different thing entirely, right?
Yeah.
And while they're in his home, he's basically, you know, asking Thor and Loki to like do these trials. Like, let's see how tough you guys really are. And some of the trials, like one is like, he gives Thor this big ass wine glass and he's like, here, like drink all of this in like 3 big gulps.
Yep.
And Thor takes these big ass gulps, like fucking incredible gulps, because he's Thor. He can do fucking anything.
Fucking Thor, yeah.
And there's only like a little bit missing from this cup. It's kind of pathetic how little he drank from it. Utgard Loki is like, here's this gray cat. I want you to lift it. So Thor's like trying to lift this gray cat, and he's finding that this cat will just like, its back just keeps arching up. Like he can't lift this cat. Its back just keeps arching.
Yeah, I mean, it's a giant ass cat too.
Yeah.
It's like the size of a lion, but he can't get it off, and he can't get it off its feet. And he's like, "What the fuck, man? I'm Thor. I'm the god of thunder.
Yeah,
fuck this cat."
And then like maybe one of its paws comes off the floor.
I think one of its paws.
Do you remember any of the other stories? I think he had to wrestle this old woman.
He had to wrestle the old chambermaid.
Yeah.
And Thor was like, "All right, I definitely got this. Fuck this old chambermaid, dude." Well, comes in and he's fighting. As he's fighting, he's getting weaker, and somehow she's getting stronger until she eventually just pins him. And like he's like, "All right, I quit. I'm exhausted. I can't fight anymore." And that's it.
And we get to the next day, and Utgard Loki is like, "So Thor, how do you think you did?" And Thor, and you'll have to help me with some of the resolutions here, but Thor's like, I think I did really poorly. I couldn't finish any of your tasks. And he starts to explain to him, like, well, that big-ass wine glass you drank from was the fucking ocean.
Yeah.
And you actually chipped away part of it. So, fuck
that was
you.
Actually, because Thor drinking so much of the ocean, that's what they said created the tides.
Oh,
was
yeah.
Thor
Okay.
drinking in that cup.
Oh, that's pretty sick. Was the cat, remind me, was the cat supposed to be Yggdrasil? The world tree?
No.
No.
He was Yarman, or
Jormungandr?
Yeah, Jormungandr, the world serpent.
Oh.
And you can't, there's apparently in Norse mythology, there's a serpent that encircles the world. And, I mean, obviously, you see how big the world is, so, you know, this serpent's got to be
pretty
huge.
Fucking big.
And the cat was under disguise,
He was basically tricking Thor into thinking this cat was a cat when it was actually Jormungandr.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even Thor can't lift up the world serpent. Like, even in Ragnarok, he's got to battle this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then the old lady was actually death. Oh. She was described as, she was death. She was, you know, old age. Like, she was the personification of old age into death. And when he wrestled him, you can't beat old age. You can't beat death. Like, everybody. That's the thing I really like about the Nordic gods as opposed to some other gods. Like, the Christian god is, you know, he's all eternal, he's all knowing and everything.
Right.
The Odinistic gods were fallible. They were human in a way, you know. In the Battle of Ragnarok, they're all gonna die. Yeah, you know, like they're getting wiped out, and their kids essentially are taking the throne after that. Yeah, you know, and it gets a little outrageous compared to, you know, some of the things, and like Fenrir bites off Thor's arm. Like, there's this giant dog. Yeah, that's just gonna destroy everybody come Ragnarok.
Dude, my favorite part, unless I'm getting this wrong, so Fenrir, Jormungandr, and Hel are all Loki's children, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Loki somehow had a fucking snake, a dog, and then just a woman as children. I can't say just a woman.
He was a shapeshifter, though.
True.
Kind of like what Zeus was in a way.
Yeah, you see, you know, this like sexy ass woman, then your wife turns her into a bull, and you're just like, game on, bitch, and you turn into a bull too.
I mean, in a way, yeah. That actually, Loki ends up. Odin had a son named Balder. Balder was given the gift of invincibility. You couldn't kill him. Okay. Except for one thing, he could be killed by mistletoe. Huh. And they had Loki trick Thor into shooting Balder with a bunch of arrows. Like, ha ha ha, look at him, he's invincible. Well, Loki decided to sneak a fucking mistletoe arrowhead in there. So as Thor drew back, he hit him with it right in the fucking heart. Kills Balder. Odin is pissed. So he sentences Loki to be tied down to a rock with a serpent that drips venom into his eyes. Nice. And like that was his punishment, so he would just see the brutality that he committed, and like he would understand the pain that Odin went through when he saw his son die, type thing. Right. And I was like, man, that's kind of fucking metal, you know. That's another thing, you know, with Marvel, everybody thinks Thor is the 6'5" fucking long hair golden goddess
Adonis man.
He was not. He was roughly, I think they had him gauged out at about 5. He's about my height. He was stocky and redhead. He was a redhead to the hardcore, like red beard, red hair, and like he was a stocky little guy. He wasn't this Adonis cut guy that you see with Chris Hemsworth. I'm not saying that's a bad portrayal. I'm just saying that's different than the actual portrayal. Loki kind of looked. He was actually a giant. He wasn't even one of the Asgardian guards.
Yeah. Because his family, he came from the giants, right?
Yeah, he came from the giants, and he was Freya's son. I think Odin adopted him or some shit like that. But he was just this gangly looking little shit, almost like a bigger version of Schmeagol from Lord of the Rings. Like, he was not an attractive fellow, unlike Tom Hiddleston, who's a great Loki and a rather attractive fellow. Right. Yeah, the Vikings, their gods are really cool. Like, I mean, how many gods you know that are both the god of poetry and the god of war?
Not many.
That's Tyr. And a lot of them overlap too. Like, Odin is the god of poetry, but so is Tyr type thing.
Sure.
Like, because they're brothers. And I think that was really cool. And a lot of the gods are nature gods. And, I mean, you have the Fae, which are, the fairies and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or nature spirits, depending how you want to look at that.
Because in Norse mythology, they had, is it 9 worlds?
Yes, they had 9 worlds, 9 realms.
And we live in Midgard here?
Midgard. Yeah, we were Midgard. The gods, so to speak, lived in Asgard.
Right.
The land of the dead was Niflheim, or Helheim. That actually where Christianity gets their hell from as well.
Because Hel, Loki's daughter, is runs the place.
Runs the place. It's not a horrible place. It's not the best place. Actually, there is... Freya also has a realm too. I want to say it's Alfheim.
Yeah, Alfenheim.
Alfenheim is Freya's realm, where if you don't get picked to go to Valhalla, you go to there, and it's dope because like that's where all your ancestors are. Like you get to fuck around and play around in fields and like just it's great. You're surrounded by woods, just beautiful woods and animals, and like
it's closer to like the Greek Elysium fields.
Yes, it's actually on par with the Greek Elysium fields, and there are parts of hell that hell's kind of like the waiting room to be distributed to wherever you're gonna go, but hell also has the like if you were a coward or if you died an unnoble death, like you were a liar or cheat, like you go there. And not essentially that you get punished, it's just nothing. It's literally nothing, which in a way is that's punishment, Like everything's just gray and drab and you just kind of meander through eternity from now on. And, so that almost scares me more than like Christianity's hell.
At least you have the entertainment of being tortured.
Right. And you get to go there. And I just want to say for the record, Valhalla is so much better than hell. Or so much better than heaven. You're telling me I can drink, fuck, and fight for the rest of the time? Instead of going to heaven where like you have to abide by God's rules and be nice all the time and like there's probably no fucking or smoking or drinking or anything.
I would imagine not.
Like they're not about that shit up there. Like,
no, you can't reproduce up in heaven, so sex is a sin.
Straight going to Asgard and I'm going to fucking Valhalla because heaven's just not for me. I want to fucking be able to like, have a little ale, talk a little shit, maybe get in a fist fight with my ancestors and like at the end of the night, all come back together and just eat a giant boar. Which, yes, there's a giant boar
that keeps
in Asgard that comes back every night to be slaughtered for the nightly feast.
Well, that's nice of them.
I think that's so cool. Like, and I do think that's cool. And I like the whole, the warrior ethos of it as opposed to, like, what Christianity is today. I don't really,
being just a nice good boy.
Like, don't get me wrong, Jesus said some cool shit, but I'm not a turn the other cheek guy. I'm like the drop the hammer kind of guy. Like, if you insult me, I'm not turning the other cheek. I'm gonna be like, hey, don't fucking do that again, because if you do, we're gonna have a problem. Like, I feel more towards the hammer than I do the cross, so to speak. And no, that's pretty much about, in a nutshell, everything that I know with like the Vikings and shit.
That's a good little history. I like a good little condensed history of Vikings.
Yeah, it's a real condensed history, but I figured I'd touch on some of the subjects that people do know. Like,
yeah, well, maybe we'll touch on it more someday, because especially the mythology side of things, not just the history.
I'll let you touch on that because I know you're a huge mythology nerd.
God, I love mythology.
Like, I think that'd be a kind of cool, like, to just do like a Norse mythology episode. I know no one's gonna listen to that, but it's not like they're fucking listening to us anyway. But yeah, I would totally be down to do like a Norse mythology or Celtic mythology or
Yeah, Celtic is one I've always wanted to deep dive into. That and like Indian or like Mayan, but like I'd say the ones I know are the ones pretty much everybody knows, like Greek/Roman,
yeah.
and like Egyptian. God, the Egyptians are cool. I think I already
The
gushed.
Egyptians are pretty dope, dude. I'd like to learn more about them.
I think in the Persona 5 episode, I already gushed about Egyptians.
A little
so
bit. There's a little bit there.
But Greek is also one I need to go double back and read some of the old stories that I loved from that because those gods are just awesome. Like
those gods are awesome.
I like Zeus and Hermes are my guys because those dudes just hang out and fuck with shit. And that's what they do. And if I lived, for eternity, what do you think I'd be doing? Fucking with humans. Literally and figuratively.
I mean, like, that's pretty much like... I also think the cool thing that why I side more with Nordic gods as opposed to modern day gods, they always said like, hey bro, we're not doing shit for you. Like, we'll give you the stuff, but you're gonna have to like...
You gotta earn your own shit.
Yeah, you gotta earn your own shit. Like...
And then Greek gods and Nordic gods are like we'll give you everything you need to, make a modest day's work, but we're also gonna, get in your fucking way because we gotta keep you on your toes.
Yeah. Yes, essentially, like...
you get cool shit like, if you go on a big epic journey, you might get like shoes with wings on them. That's pretty sick.
Exactly.
Or like a
look
mirror
at the
shield.
Labors of Hercules.
Hell yeah.
That shit was dope, dude. Like
that's a fucking like you could make that into a video game. That's like an RPG kind of thing.
I mean, they made Dante's Inferno into a
video
game, and that was pretty sick. I mean, those just obviously God of War ripoff, but
right.
I mean, still is pretty cool for what it was, Like, why have they not made like Beowulf into a video game?
Yeah, he's had plenty of movies. I'm sure he's in plenty of games, but I don't think there's a
Beowulf. He was kind of almost like the Nordic.
There's a
Hercules
Beowulf video game, but it's based on the movie, so it's not that good.
No, the movie didn't touch on so many things. Like, it was literally just the struggle between him and Grundle.
Yeah.
Like, but he also slayed serpents, and like, he also slayed kings too. Like, there's so much to Beowulf that they were like, nope, we're just gonna touch on this one thing and fuck everything else.
There's a character in a fighting game, and he's just known as Beowulf. That's dope. But that's his like stage name because he's like not a masked wrestler. He's a wrestler. He's like a pro wrestler. He comes in wearing like a wolf pelt over him and shit. And some of his attacks are he pulls out a giant's detached arm and attacks with it, and it's Grundle's arm, and it's like that's fucking cool. He has a move where like I think he has one where he chugs a whole gallon of milk and then uppercuts his opponent 3 times and then fucking like body presses them with a full moon in the background, and it's like, this just looks awesome. Why is this character so cool?
I could imagine that. That'd be cool, man. Like, I don't know. I think that would be cool to like have. I don't know, like, I wouldn't say like a mythology video game, but like, yeah, make the Beowulf video game. But like, I mean, the new God of War really touches, like, you have to face off with Balder, and you have to face off with Moody and Maddie, which are Mad-Eye and Moody or something like that.
Okay.
I might have fucked that up really bad, but
yeah, I thought Mad-Eye Moody was a Harry Potter character.
Fuck, my wife has gotten into my head more than I'd like to admit.
I mean, video games often, like, really often draw from old mythology and stuff like that to, help supplement their stories. I mean,
ain't there an Indian god in Street Fighter now that I think about it? The Dali or whatever?
Dhalsim is not a god.
Oh, no. Maybe.
But, I mean, he's
like a mystic, though, isn't he?
Yeah, and he can shoot, like, fire and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's why I thought he was a god, but he's not, apparently.
There's a character based on like ancient Greek, and there's a character based on like ancient Roman. I kind of talked about the ancient Greek one already, and his name is oh god, why am I blanking on his name? It's my brain's a little rusty right now. I don't know where it's at. Shoot. Well, now I feel dumb for bringing it up and not remembering his name. But he's the guy I was telling you where he's like this big muscle dude, and he wears like basically just his underwear to fight.
Oh yeah. You were telling me about that.
Yeah,
guy.
and he's kind of based on like Greek emperors.
I mean, yeah, if you go back to it, like the Vikings actually had their own style of wrestling too, called glima, which was that's kind of cool. It's kind of like wrestling, but it's like a judo wrestling hybrid.
Urien is who I'm thinking of. Urien. And then there's his brother Gil, and Gil is a little bit more Roman based.
Okay, I can see the whole Roman thing in there.
Yeah. I think it kind of comes out more in their like moves and stuff. I mean, they're not like solely tied to those mythos, but
yeah,
it definitely is cool that like they kind of reference it in a way.
Yeah, like I think that is kind of cool. Like I really have seen an uptick in like the Nordic culture and like our pop culture with like Vikings. I mean,
yeah,
pseudo Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones would be one.
You know, God of War, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like you're
Even
really starting to see it.
Marvel making Thor such a big face.
Yeah,
for
like
them.
he's an original Avenger, and like I mean they hit Asgard. They have Loki. They have Odin. They have Freya.
Yeah,
You know, and they have his struggle against the giants. I thought that was kind of cool. Even though the Dark World sucked. But, like, the whole premise of it could have been much fucking better than what it was. There are dark and light elves that I think kind of... In Norse mythology, there's dark and light elves that kind of... You know, that went around. That was their way of explaining good and evil people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were influenced by light or
They
dark elves type thing.
The humans that lived.
They were almost, I mean, like you were saying earlier, they were almost like the gods' little shitheads, you know, like
right.
they could save a situation.
The angel and devil on your shoulder.
Yeah, they could save a situation, they could destroy a situation, it just depends on which way you wanted to go. But that would be pretty cool. Like I'd totally make like a god themed video game, you know?
Absolutely.
Like a Street Fighter, but with like different gods from different eras and like, you know, throw Jesus in there
God.
too.
They have that. I don't think that was made by any like AAA or anything like that. But there's a game that exists. Guys, it's just called Clash of the Gods. You can play as Jesus, and he actually like swings his fucking cross as a weapon.
Dope. That'd be dope. Can you shoot nails from his hands?
Probably.
Instead of Hadouken, it's crucifixion. I'm sorry. I apologize to all the Christians out there.
I don't.
No, I don't either. That's funny as hell. I heard his favorite band was 9 Inch Nails. I mean, that is kind of cool. Like, the whole Clash of the Gods or Clash of the Titans, you know?
I can't remember exactly what the game was called. I don't think it's called Clash of the Gods, but it picked up some flack for, you know, involving Jesus in it. Because, of course, Christians can't let you do anything fun.
No.
Just let Jesus fight. It's awesome, okay? Look, they made him cool. He's cool.
They made him cool.
Look, the dude
they
could
should
turn
make a
water.
Passion of the Christ 2 where he comes back and he's got a bunch of Glocks. Like
Passion of the Christ 2.
I ain't crucifixing around.
I ain't crucifixing around. You tell me there's a dude who can turn water into wine, and you haven't thought about him turning the water in your body into wine and killing you that way? Because that's pretty awesome.
The dude raised the dead at one point.
Right.
Like
he was into some necromancy. That's fucked
exactly.
up.
Jesus was into necromancy.
Jesus was a lich.
Fuck the elves.
All right, Joe. We looking to wrap up here.
Yeah, let's do this. Let's wrap it up. I've rambled on enough. This is probably not going to be one of our more popular ones.
I don't know about that. I think it was kind of cool.
I think it was really cool. Like you get to learn about some shit, and like, you know, it wasn't stupid nerd shit this time around. So
okay.
Yeah. I figured. No,
we can always make it stupid nerd shit.
I like learning about your stupid nerd shit though, to a point.
One day we will get the One Piece episode, and that one will go on for like 2 hours.
A 3-piece combo type guy.
We could get us some KFC while we talk about it.
I mean, that'd be nice. But it's just going to be me chewing into a mic the whole time.
Can't be any worse than you slapping my table.
If you haven't heard me drinking there in this episode, I apologize for that. Yeah, we should definitely do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. I know it already passed.
Merry Yule.
Yeah, Merry Yule. Looking forward to, holidays in the future where we don't have to worry about not seeing each other, but
right.
Whatever.
Wash your hands. Wear your damn mask, people. It's not hard.
Yeah. Yeah, if we can get this stuff out of the way now so we can enjoy the holidays next year, that would be for the best, don't you think?
I'm trying to get drunk with my family on New Year's Eve, you turds. Please just wash your hands. Wear your mask. Right. Masks are cool.
I saw a text that was I received it personally. Somebody posted it online. And it was a family, like a group conversation with a family. And they were trying to ask like who's coming to Thanksgiving this year, and grandma was like, yeah, I think I'll stay home. And presumably like one of the brothers, one of her grandchildren was like, but grandma, what about you, like the wonderful pie you make? And she's like, oh, that's great. We can serve it at my funeral. Which is like, hell yeah, grandma. Right. Put him in his fucking place.
Tell him something, grandma. Yeah, if we can get that done to wraps, that'd be cool. Also, you guys aren't going to be happy with me because I'm going to text Kevin tomorrow and tell him that I want New Year or Christmas Eve off because I have a 1-year-old son that I would like to at least spend somewhat of Christmas on.
A first Christmas with him.
Christmas Day. I'm working a 12-hour.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Thanks,
I took New Year's off.
Oh yeah, I don't care about New Year's.
New Year's off so I can lay around at home and get drunk, but. That sounds kind of comfortable, so fine by me.
I mean, that's what I do every Saturday night. But yeah, you guys have a good one. We're out, and I'll see you next week, yes, monkeys?
Yeah, we'll talk at you later. Hopefully you want to listen.
If you don't, I'll come to your house, and I'll kill you. Please like and subscribe.
Yeah, we'll bring our big old hammers with little spikes on them.
Spiky hammers.
We'll make sure
meaty spiky boys.
We'll make sure Krampus comes with us and kidnaps.
Do a whole episode on Krampus.
Your presents.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. But yeah, we'll
do a side story.
We'll talk at you later. See you everybody.
Later.